corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
Right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. So, hello, Aquarius Rising. Juju is here. Okay, Sierra. Let's get into it. We the people. Dangerous, Hadassah, Leon. All right. Everybody hit that like button, like and share. I see you above all that drama. Nee, Desmond, Brown's Flat Power God is in the virtual building. Sheila. All right. Well, let's get into it. 504 NOLA. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals. I see you, Trisha. Okay, Aquarius MC, 57 Beige, D Major Scaling. All right, Adwa L. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay, I see you, Cookie and Lillian X. Now, with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor before we get this party started. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so with that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Kratz. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she also sells beard oil. Okay. So with that all being said, let's get into it. Let's get into it. First off, the NAACP has suggested for Black athletes to boycott colleges in the South. Okay, so let's get into it. I want to know you all's thoughts on this also.
With a new push to fight the wave of Republican redistricting efforts across the South, seeking to wipe out the few Democratic-held congressional seats in states like Alabama, South Carolina, and Louisiana. The NAACP is now urging Black student athletes to boycott athletic programs at public universities in states that are pushing maps that the group says restrict Black voting rights. The group's president says Republican-led Southern states are seeking to reinstitute a sharecropping reality by recruiting Black athletic talent to play for flagship universities while limiting Black voters' ability to elect candidates of their choice. Joining us now is the national director of the NAACP's Youth and College Division, Tyleek McMillan. Tyleek, explain the strategy here and how many schools are we even talking about?
Yeah, the Out of Bounds campaign is ultimately about accountability, power, and the value of Black lives beyond performance. We are seeking and asking institutions to recognize that Black students and athletes are not just assets to be celebrated on game day, but they are human beings who are deserving of protection and representation in that investment. Everything in our lives is political because policy shapes our everyday existence. I think about my time graduating from North Carolina A&T. My first time voting in a presidential election was as a student. So understanding that the political power that students have on their campuses as they're being shifted to these universities to play sports, understanding and centering that is going to be important.
And again, we're talking about Southern states that are the focus of this campaign, right? What states, what universities are you targeting?
Yeah, as we're looking at the Southern states, as you mentioned here on the map, as we're looking at our Mississippis and our Floridas and our Louisianas, where we are seeing these attacks in broad daylight. This campaign is a call to students, but it's also a deeper charge to families and alumni and consumers and faith leaders and communities to think critically about where we invest our time, our talent, and our visibility and our dollars. Black athletes and Black students generate enormous economic value for universities and states. Entire athletic programs and conference deals and institutional brandings are strengthened by Black talent and Black cultural influence. And so we are asking a fundamental question: if institutions benefit from Black excellence, why should they remain siloed when Black representation and democracy are under attack?
And I know this campaign was just announced, but have you heard from any student athletes yet who plan to participate in the boycott?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been in conversation with student athletes. We've been in conversation with professional athletes, professional coaches. And I would just say that our young people are paying attention to more than ranking in facilities. They are asking whether a campus is willing or a university is willing to defend their diversity, their equity, and their inclusion, to defend their voting rights and the truth in education. And so silence from these institutions sends a message, and it tells Black students whether they are valued only for what they produce or respected as full members of the campus community. And so we want to ensure that this generation understands their influence is directly impacted. Young people know where they commit their talents and visibility as economic and political weight. And we want to ensure that we are putting that pressure on these universities to speak up for their students, not only on, but also off the field.
Tyleek, there are student athletes who have worked their whole lives for a chance to play in a storied program at one of these universities. Do you really think teenagers are going to reject offers from a school like Alabama or LSU or Ole Miss out of principle?
Absolutely. I think, we're living in a generation where young folks, we are not just talking, they understand the power of their talent. And so it's just not about a facility or a coaching staff, but it's also about the dignity of the university in which they're going to attend. If the university upheld and makes sure that their Black life matters, or that their representation matters, or that their inclusion matters, or their dignity matters, or their right to fair representation matters. And so these all play into account. And so we want to ensure that if there's not going to be an institution that lives up to that ideal or that morality, there are other universities and historically Black colleges, universities who will center community, or also universities in other states who believe in representation or believe in the fact of students being represented on and off the field.
Tyleek McMillan, we appreciate your perspective. Thanks so much for shining light on your campaign that you have.
All right. So shout out to that smart young man. He has more sense than some grown people. Now, with that, and I just went in on somebody this morning, a friend of mine who went to the same high school as me. I just went in on them, calling me this morning with this dumb stuff, talking about, oh, the NAACP wants the Black athletes to boycott the Southern colleges. I said, yeah, I know. And I said, I'm about to talk about that this morning. And then they were like, well, the NAACP, they why are they saying that now? They should have said that 30 or 40 years ago. I'm like, look, here's the thing that annoys the hell out of me with Black people. We don't have time to be living in the past. We don't have time to be talking about what they did or didn't do 30 and 40 years ago. In fact, the people that were in the NAACP 30 and 40 years ago may not even be in the NAACP right now. And even if they are, that's irrelevant. With you Black people, what us Black people need to be worried about is what's going on right now. It's what's going on right now. So, and then the person was telling me where they're going to get paid. They could be making all this money. I said, I don't care. They can make that money somewhere else. They can make their money somewhere else. So you want to tell young people that it's okay to be a raccoon? Because that's what raccoons do. Raccoon kiss the boots. Okay, they bow and kiss the ring of the oppressors who don't do anything for us. They're down here trying to stop us from voting. Are y'all okay? Anybody that thinks that's a bad idea, are y'all cool? At the end of the day, here's the thing. Now, Sierra says the NAACP always wants us to do something. They don't do anything for us. Well, here's the thing, beloved. I never expected, me myself personally, I never expected the NAACP to do anything for me. I never expected politicians to do anything for me. I'm all about doing for yourself. Now, we do expect certain things from these politicians, but whether they do it or they don't, I'm still going to do what I need to do, and as should all of you. And the bottom line is, I think you all should remember, because I just did this like a week ago, the video where I did the Handmaid's Tale agenda. Now, if you remember, and if you didn't see that video, please go back and watch. Because I read some more of that document last night, and it further ticks me off. And I'll get into that on a second live that I'm going to do later. So this live is going to be short, because I'm not going to be on here all day. Now, with that all being said, here's the problem. You all, or at least some of you, seem to be more preoccupied with let me put it like this. Some of you seem to be more preoccupied with what the Democrats have or have not done for Black people. You seem to be more preoccupied or concerned about what the NAACP has or has not done, or what the Republicans have or have not done. That's all fine. You can be concerned about that, but here's what you need to be concerned about. What you need to be concerned about, it's what's going on right in the here and the now. Because when I tell you what they have in mind and what they have planned and in store, it's 10 times worse than anything you've ever lived through. Now, you can think I'm just talking, but just remember, I've told you all plenty of things and they've come true. So you should know that I know what I'm talking about, because I actually, unlike most people, I actually use my critical thinking skills, and I do a lots of research. I read and research every day because what I know is that the devils who are running everything always stay steps ahead of the rest of us. That's what they always do. If you remember that document that I read some of it to you all last week, the Handmaid's Agenda is what I call it. That document, it says on there, literally, it says this is something they want to have going on for the next 250 years. So even if you don't give a darn about yourself, why don't you think about your children and grandchildren and future generations? Why aren't y'all thinking about them and what they may possibly have to go through if all of these plans that they're scheming with are basically come into play? Once they get this stuff implemented in here, it can be lasting for centuries because that's their plan. That's their plan. And I just feel like, Black athletes, yeah, of course, I want them to prosper, to thrive, and to make money and to be successful. I love Black people. Okay? But with that, except for the raccoons, I don't care about them because to me, they're no different than the wanted supremacists. So they get no love for the queen. Y'all heard what I said this song. But here's my thing. These athletes can absolutely go elsewhere and make money. Why would you go and help the very people that are trying to hold you back? Why would you go to colleges in the South just because they offer you some money, but they're trying to take away your rights? They're trying to send you back to Jim Crow. They're trying to send your parents, these young people, they're trying to send their parents, their grandparents, and them back to Jim Crow. So I just think that at the end of the day, we need to focus on the right thing because far too often I see that Black people collectively, for the majority of us, are always worried about the wrong thing. If you're not worried about celebrity gossip, you're worried about some BS that you can't change. Okay? Go read the Serenity Prayer. Focus on the things that you can do to improve what's going on with you right now. Start preparing for the things that are to come and start speaking out against the things that you don't want to deal with. That's what we all should be focusing on. Now, I don't want to go in on anybody, but I just get so upset because it unsettles my spirit when I hear Black people saying the most asinine things that don't mean anything. If they didn't do anything for us, so what? They're trying to do something now. Otherwise, they wouldn't be saying to boycott. The boycott would be beneficial. Have you all forgotten how successful the Montgomery boycott was? Have y'all forgotten that? But see, the problem with some of us is that we want to basically just focus on things that are just not collectively going to help us. See, so many Black people only think about themselves rather than their people collectively. Sierra says, I want the same as you. I'm just tired of being used. Like you said, we have to do for ourselves. Yes, we do. And people can only use us if we allow them to. You understand it? And with that being said, Sierra, you make a good point. Because nobody wants to be used, but but in life, we all are going to get used at some point by somebody. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, spouse, whatever, your kids. I mean, people get used, but that's just the way it goes. But the bottom line is I understand what you're saying. But here's the thing. Now, if we want to talk about being used, you don't think that it's being used if our Black athletes who are the cream of the crop, because we already know why everybody loves to watch sports. It's because Black people are in sports. If there was no Black people in any of these sports or we had our own leagues, nobody would go to the NBA, the NFL. Nobody would go to watch them. Nobody would cut on the TV or be buying tickets. So that's the power that we have, and we need to keep it because what is being when we send Black athletes or encourage them to go to these Southern colleges, and then at the same time, these colleges are trying to take away their rights and freedoms and trying to send them back to another Jim Crow 2.0. When they're trying to do all of that, that's using. Okay, that's usury. They're using them. They're using our athletes to enrich themselves, to make their colleges look good, but yet they still want to stifle Black folk. That's being used right there. And that's the problem that I have with our people, because collectively, a lot of times Black people don't think about these things. They only think about what's right in front of them or what they're going to get out of it. But what about what all of us are going to get out of it? I'm just trying to tell y'all the truth. And when I was talking to my friend this morning, I really hated because I got so upset with them, because no matter how much I was trying to explain it to them and tell them that what they were trying to encourage these athletes to do was not right, I ended up going in on them because they just kept saying crazy stuff until I just couldn't take it. Y'all know how I am at this point. When people are talking crazy, when they're not making any sense. They told me, oh, well, they said, well, my nephew is about to go to college or whatever. And I said, that's fine. So you want to teach your nephew to be a raccoon? Is that what you want? Because raccoons don't mind being used by the oppressors as long as they get some money. You all know what kind of stuff I could be doing right now. I want you all to really think about this. Do you all realize what I could be doing or could have been doing? I still could. But do you all realize what I could have been doing if I wanted to be a raccoon? Just think about it. Just think about it. Now, we all know how successful Candace Owens is. I know I'm smarter than she is. And at the end of and probably have more credentials. So if I wanted to be like that so I could make money, I could absolutely do it. And I'm not that type of person. And we as Black people should not be encouraging our youth to be that type of person. Just for money. All money is not good money, lest you forget. You should not want to have anything to do with ill-gotten gains. Why would you take money and then when the person hands it to you and you walk away and turn around, they stab you in the back? Like, does that make sense? These people are out here calling us the N-word blatantly to our faces. These people are out here trying to talk about a race war that we didn't ask for. Because it's not that we have a problem with them, it's that they have a problem with us. We don't go around bothering them, harassing them. We don't even really speak on them until it pertains to something that they're trying to do to us or that they've done to one or many of us. Y'all really need to get it together, because at the end of the day, what's coming down the pike is not a game. And I'm not going to keep preaching to people who really have already made up their minds that they're fine with bullshit, that they're fine with just walking back onto the plantation. Because I'm not walking onto nobody's plantation. As God is my witness, they will have to kill me first. And unlike many, I don't fear death. But I'm not going to live like a slave. That's what I'm not ever going to do. And I would not ever encourage any young person to do it either, because that's what you're doing. When you tell them, oh, go down there to the South, they're going to pay you 6 or 7 figures, like my friend was telling me this morning. Encouraging buffoonery? I don't think so. D Major says many people, Black people and all, have bought into capitalism. It creeps into our everyday thinking and functions. This must be considered. Listen, it is considered. I know that most people are more concerned with money as opposed to how they acquire said money. Now, like I said, they can make their money elsewhere. Go to HBCUs, why don't you? Go and help your own people to look good. Go help those campuses to make money. Why would you go to the very people that are oppressing you and try to help them? You know how stupid that is? Does that make any sense? Because it doesn't make any to me at all. G Major, thank you for your contribution to the channel and your insight into the topic, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about, and listen, we're going to talk more about this type of stuff later on this evening, because I have some very interesting information for you all that I'm not going to get into right now, because like I said, I'm not about to be on here long. I was going to talk about that first and then talk about Cheyenne later, but no, I'm just going to talk about this quickly and come back later and talk about the serious stuff. And also that'll likely be better because more people will maybe tune in. So anyway, listen, we all have to do our due diligence. The stuff that's coming is not good. It's not going to be good for any of us if they are successful in implementing their plan. So everybody needs to wake up. And if you don't wake up, you're going to die in your sleep. And that's facts. So listen, there was a flight from France that was diverted. Okay, ended up going to Montreal, Canada, because there was an Ebola scare on the flight. So come to find out, it was someone who was picked up from the Republic of the Congo, and I guess they thought they have Ebola, or they obviously know they have it. The person was sick on the flight. And so they were supposedly going to Detroit, but Detroit would not allow them to land. Okay, they wouldn't allow it. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said an Air France flight bound for Detroit was diverted to Montreal after a passenger from the Congo boarded in error amid flight restrictions tied to the Ebola outbreak. Now, they said the person boarded in error. I don't know how that happened. So they go on to say that a spokesperson for the agency said the passenger should not have boarded the plane on Wednesday due to U.S. entry restrictions put in place to reduce the Ebola risk. Now, the spokesman said in an email that officials took decisive action and prohibited the flight carrying that traveler from landing at Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airport, and instead they diverted to Montreal, Canada. Air France said the passenger was denied entry into the U.S. due to the new regulations that travelers from certain countries, including the Congo, can enter only through Washington. Now, the Department of Homeland Security also said that as of Thursday, all U.S.-bound American citizens and permanent residents who have been in the Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan in the previous 21 days must only enter through Washington Dulles International Airport for enhanced screening. And they say Canadian health officials did not immediately respond to requests for comment, and there is a growing Ebola outbreak linked to a rare virus. And here's the thing, let me just tell you all this. So Ebola usually is not supposed to be as contagious as other things that are airborne, because Ebola generally would be contagious or transferred through bodily fluids. Okay, bodily fluids. Now, that could be like if someone sneezes on you, okay, that too. But now what they're saying is there's a mutation of the Ebola virus that's much more contagious and easier to catch. Okay? Much more dangerous because it's easier to catch. So with that all being said, they wouldn't let the flight in, and I don't blame them because I wouldn't have let them in either. So moving right along, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And let me just tell you all something else. No, never mind. I'm gonna talk about that later. I don't want to get caught up. But let's look at this video of Keisha Lance Bottoms talking about her gubernatorial race here in Georgia. Just anticipate, said, here we go again. Exactly. Here we do go again, beloved. And it's about to get worse.
For Governor, Keisha Lance Bottoms joins me now to discuss her primary victory. Congratulations, first of all. Were you expecting to surpass the 50% margin and avoid a runoff?
I did, Major. I believed in our campaign. I knew that we were doing the work. We just always said that we were going to run like we were 30 points down and not 30 points ahead. Internally, we believed that we would pass the 50% mark, and just very pleased that we got to 56%. I think it sends a very loud and clear message that we have a very powerful campaign that's ready to take on whomever comes out of this Republican primary in November.
Do you see any difference between Burt Jones or Rick Jackson, the two Republicans who will be in the runoff?
Just in terms of they're running toward Trump's MAGA agenda, they're equally awful in that regard. Donald Trump has already endorsed Burt Jones, and Rick Jackson is spending a lot of money to try and curry favor with Donald Trump. So they are as MAGA gets. And as I'm moving around the state, that's not what the people of this state want to hear. They want to hear how we are going to address these everyday issues that are impacting their lives: cost of living, access or lack thereof to healthcare, education, access to jobs. Those are the things that people are concerned about, not this extreme agenda that Donald Trump continues to push forward in our state.
If you are elected, you would be the first African-American woman ever elected governor in Georgia. And if I believe correctly, according to my quick research, the first African-American governor woman in the entire country. Is that potential history central to your campaign or incidental?
It's not. I mean, obviously, I'm a Black woman every day, so I don't go around thinking about the label of being a Black woman. What I'm thinking about right now is just how I'm going to deliver for the people across this state. So obviously, the historical context of it could be significant. But when I am talking to voters across this state, their concerns are about how a leader will deliver for their communities. And the question of whether it would be a woman, a Black woman, doesn't come up. It's not a topic of discussion. It's just about how will you make my life better, and why should I vote for you, and what will I get in return for it?
What effect does it have that Brian Kemp is not going to be on the ballot? Because Stacey Abrams tried to make that history twice, failed both times. Brian Kemp is formidable in the state of Georgia in Republican and statewide politics. He's not on the ballot. How big of a difference does that make?
Well, it's an open seat. So I think that in and of itself is always an advantage to anyone who's not challenging an incumbent. There are some inherent challenges when you go against an incumbent. So the fact that it's an open seat gives us even an even better opportunity to pick up the seat. And again, we came out of last night very, very strong, winning, I believe, and I haven't seen the final numbers. I believe we won every county with the exception of 158 counties. And we were able to get a lot of crossover appeal with our campaign. And again, it's just been about talking about those issues that matter most to people.
Is the Joe Biden endorsement for you important? Because there is a sense I have from some Republicans in Georgia that the Biden-Harris name is still toxic in Georgia politics.
No, that's not what I'm picking up, especially from the Democratic base. People know how the Biden-Harris administration delivered for this state. But at the end of the day, an endorsement from a president is a wonderful thing to have. But really, it's about people voting for me in the state, talking to people, earning their votes one by one. So I'm honored to have had that endorsement, but it's not stopping me from trying to earn votes of everyday, regular working folk in this state.
If you're elected, inflation and cost of living will be a big challenge. You can't do very much about it as governor, but what would you try to do?
There are a few things that we can do. There's a gas tax that the governor has the opportunity to suspend in the state. It's suspended right now. I will extend that. Also looking at how we can make housing more affordable in this state, investing in infrastructure, working with builders who specialize.
Hold on, I have a question for Natasha, because I see Natasha keeps putting comments in the chat while Keisha Lance Bottoms is talking. You're pretty much going in on her. So what do you suggest, beloved? If you think she's not going to do anything and she's just talking, what do you think we should do? Vote Republican? Let me know. I'll wait for your response in the chat. Do you think it would be better for us to vote Republican? What are your thoughts on it? And do you live in Georgia? If you don't mind me asking. I'm just curious. I'm just waiting for you to respond. And while I'm waiting on you, let's go to Stacey Abrams. Let's go to Stacey Abrams. Well, actually, let's let Ms. Keisha Lance Bottoms finish first.
In affordable and workforce housing, whether it be through low interest loans or grants for homeowners. Also expanding Medicaid in the state. Not expanding Medicaid has cost a lot of people a lot of money in this state. 9 rural hospitals have closed. And we're leaving federal dollars on the table because we've not expanded Medicaid. People are having to travel sometimes upwards for an hour or more to receive specialized care. Half our counties don't even have OBGYNs and pediatricians. So there are several things that we're going to tackle head on, including teachers' pay. Our average teacher starting pay in the state is $43,000 a year. We want to raise that to $60,000 a year and eliminate state income taxes for our teachers. So we've already started giving a lot of thought as to what we can do on day one when that budget comes from the governor's office, and making sure that our priorities are reflected accordingly.
Keisha Lance Bottoms, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Okay. Zion's Love said they're all liars. Don't fall for it, please. Well, here's the thing. If they're all liars, what are we supposed to do? Not vote? What do you suggest we do? For all the people that are commenting about what Ms. Bottoms just said, please let me know, what do you think we're supposed to do? And I'm being serious. I'm not going to go in on you. I'm asking a question because she's talking about, people having Medicaid and stuff, which people need. And she is a Democrat. Let me just tell you all something. For the people who always talk about what the Democrats did or didn't do, what I will say is you never talk about what they actually do. The Democrats do some work. They might not give us reparations, but we're never going to get that anyway. And that wouldn't come from them. That would come from the governments. Okay, that would come from the top. And they're not going to give it to us. These are the same people. This is the same country that didn't want to agree when they had the vote at the UN that chattel slavery was the worst human atrocity. So they don't want to admit to it because then, of course, they know they would owe us reparations. They don't want to ever give it to us. So here's the question. We know they all lie. I have told you all that myself plenty of times. But what do we do about it is the question. Do you think we should just not vote? Do you think we should just let the Republicans stay in control? What do y'all think? Why is nobody answering? Like I'm legitimately asking y'all questions. Nobody has nothing to say. Nobody has anything to say. Zion's Love, I'm asking you your question. Now, you got time to respond to thank Frank Nitty because he's agreeing with you. But I'm asking you a question, beloved. What do you think we should do? Corey said, what do the Democrats do? Well, what do the Republicans do? Frank says form our own political party. That's a good idea. Oh, she said from the couch. Okay. You said from the couch. You're going to be on the couch. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to be on the couch because I already voted. But here's the thing, though. I'm definitely not going to be on the couch when it's time to vote because that's why Trump is in office, because too many of our people sat on the couch. You see, no matter what you say about the Democrats, how we're disappointed, they don't do what we want them to do all the time or whatever. The bottom line is they do a whole lot more than the Republicans do. The Republicans want to take your health care. The Republicans want to stop people that need SNAP from getting it. They have a whole lot of nefarious stuff that I'm going to tell y'all about later. I'm not even going to get into it right now. I don't even have time for the list of stuff that they're up to. And it's all some sick stuff. When I tell you it's sick and disgusting, the stuff that they have up their sleeve, it'll make you cringe. So now with that all being said, Corey Thomas said nothing, just like the Democrats. Exactly. But what they're going to do is much more nefarious than what the Democrats are going to do. Do you think the Democrats want to take you back to Jim Crow? Do you think the Democrats are the ones who gutted the Voter Rights Act? Do you think the Democrats are the ones who voted? Let me just tell y'all a little tip of the iceberg of what I'm going to tell y'all about later. The Democrats are not the ones who voted against a bill just days ago to ban child marriages. Did y'all know that? Or did y'all even know that children can get married in this country? Literally children. Literally children. Did y'all know that? That children can get married in this country in 34 states? And did you know that 36 Republicans in Oklahoma just the other day voted against the bill to ban that? You see, what you need to think about is the Epstein files. These people are sick and disgusting. And these people are all in and throughout the government. And obviously, most of them are Republicans. From what I saw in the Epstein files, most of them are Republicans. The only Democrats that I remember seeing in the Epstein files were Bill Clinton. Okay, it was Bill Clinton. All these other people I read to you all about and showed you the receipts, they were Republicans. Okay? So when you think about what the Democrats are not doing, just remember what the Republicans are doing and ask yourself, would you be happier? Would you be more comfortable with what the Democrats aren't doing or with what the Republicans are currently doing? Maybe that's what you should ask yourself, because the Republicans are definitely worse. And it's going to get a whole lot worse, okay? They're trying to put in a whole nother agenda. And when I tell y'all about it, it's going to make your head spin. Okay? Now, I'm not going to sit up here and go in on people because I really don't have time and I don't want y'all lowering my energy. I'm just very concerned at the state of my people. Some of you are going to make the right choices and some of you sadly won't. But the Bible already told us that only a remnant of Israel shall be saved. About 2/3, if memory serves me correct. So sit on the couch if you want to, but don't start crying when the agendas that they're trying to incorporate start happening. Okay? Don't start crying then, because I promise you, you're doing okay right now. We have a few complaints right now, but you're going to be right back in slavery. And the sad thing is, and I keep telling you all this, is that some of you, out of ignorance, some out of a lack of concern, or some out of misinformation, whatever the case may be, some of you are just going to voluntarily walk back onto the plantation. And once you do that, nobody's going to be able to get you off. And that's just a fact. So with that all being said, here's the thing. Keisha Lance Bottoms is going to be running against these two. She's going to be running against these two. Okay? And I will tell you this, I will damn sure vote for Keisha Lance Bottoms than I will for these two good old boys. Okay? For these two good old boys. That's what GOP stands for, good old party. That's why they want to take y'all back to Jim Crow. And some of y'all are going to voluntarily go. So go right on ahead. I don't have to convince you of anything. You don't have to take my advice. You don't have to agree with me. At this point, I don't care. Like I told my friend this morning when I went in on him. At this point, I don't even care what some of y'all do. Because some of y'all, you're not going to let anybody talk sense into you because you already have this crazy belief in your mind that Democrats are so low down and dirty, and maybe they are. But I promise you, the Republicans are 100 times worse. And you should already see that. Look at Trump. Okay, so Measure Man says people need to hold people accountable. That's on us. Don't wait for people to do stuff. We are sending money to It's Not Real that give free abortions, but the other side is of family values. Okay, So thank you for your insight, beloved. I appreciate you. Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. And you're absolutely right. Now, Greta says Kemp stole the election from Stacey Abrams. Oh, I absolutely believe he did that. I absolutely believe he did that. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. So with that being said, let's go to what Stacey Abrams said. And here's the thing. You know, I'm just hoping and praying that Keisha Lance Bottoms does win. Let's say that she was lying about all of the things that she just said, and she's not going to do any of that stuff when she gets in. We can hold her accountable. But at the end of the day, even if she's lying, what do you think those two white men are going to do if one of them gets in? What do you think they're going to do? Are they going to make it all better? No, they're not. They're absolutely not. D Major says, we don't have time to focus on reparations right now. No, we don't. And I'm glad you said that. We really don't. We're never getting it anyway, at least not in our lifetime as far as I'm concerned. And so, yeah, we need to be worried about things that we can actually do something about. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so let me speed up the process because we're already 45 minutes in. I swear they're still in time. Okay? And I want to be out of here in like the next 40 minutes. I'm not staying on here for 2 hours a day. That's not going to happen. And if it does, I'm not coming back later. So
bring in Stacey Abrams, founder of Fair Fight and former Georgia Democratic candidate for governor. Thank you so much for joining us. First, I want to get your reaction to the state of play in Georgia after those primaries last night. As you watch.
Hold on, beloveds. Let me go to this comment. Adrian says it's not just about reparations, it's about getting something for your vote. Well, the Democrats give y'all Medicaid and Medicare for your votes. They give you some other things too. I'll give you a list of things that the Democrats actually give us when I come back later on and do the next broadcast, because that's where I'll be talking more about politics. But you absolutely do get something for your vote. We just don't get everything that we want. But the Republicans aren't going to give you a damn thing. So there's that. The Republicans aren't going to give you a damn thing. Okay? So either you're going to vote for the Republicans who are not going to give you anything, or you're going to vote for the Democrats who give you a few things. Take your pick. Now let's continue.
Watch these two Republicans in a runoff to face Senator Ossoff. What do you see as the deciding factors in that race?
I think it's a question of which person do you want as a champion for the people of Georgia, for the people of this country, a champion for democracy, or do you want two men who are fighting to prove their fealty to someone who is raising our prices, lowering our safety, and destroying our democracy? The two Republicans are in a pitched battle to prove that they are running to be supplicants to Trump, not to be defenders of democracy and champions for Georgia. And that's why Jon Ossoff is going to win.
And we're looking there at the governor's primary, as we just saw. Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, came in a distant third in that GOP primary for governor out of the runoff completely. As you know, he stood up for the integrity of the 2020 election. He rebuffed Trump's demand that he find 11,780 votes. So what does this result tell you about Georgia voters and President Trump's influence in your state more than 5 years later?
Turns out you should never sue the driver who crashed into you after a car accident. There's a much better way you could get paid a way bigger.
Well, while I appreciate the fact that Brad Raffensperger did not commit treason, let's be clear, he has been just as much a Trump acolyte on every other issue. And we have to remember that in the state of Georgia, we don't have access to health care through Medicaid expansion. We have some of the most expensive health care and the largest shortages in the country. We do not have access to affordable housing. We have voting rights challenges that are happening every single day. And Brad, much like his two opponents, Bert and Rick, were all part of the same coalition that supported Trump policies. Brad may not have wanted to see Trump steal an election, but he was perfectly happy watching him steal the futures of Georgians. And right now, what we're going to watch from Republicans are people who are committed to denying access to health care, denying affordability. Well, they enrich themselves, and they are very much in the Trump mold. And so in the next month, we are going to watch Rick Jackson and Burt Jones fight to see who can offend more people, who can hurt more Georgians, and who can do everything but serve the people of Georgia. And that's why I'm delighted that we have a candidate on our side up and down the ticket who will be fighting for Georgians every single day going forward.
MS now spoke with several Democrats in Georgia ahead of this election, and they expressed some real frustration with the Democratic Party. Here's just a sample.
I feel like they've let this run wild. I feel like nobody is being held accountable. I just feel like literally this administration can do anything and everything, and everybody's just letting it go.
I think more so the other side is messing up more. It's like a basketball game, not so much that the Democrats are scoring, but the other team isn't right now.
Do you think the Democrats are improving in any sort of way?
No. I'll be 100% honest. No, I feel like sometimes when I'm looking at the news, I'm just kind of like banging my head against the wall.
Stacey, Georgia was the battleground of the 2020 cycle. Trump went 0-3 there with the pair of Senate losses in addition to losing to Joe Biden in the presidency. But 4 years later, Trump won, and now a Senate seat is up for grabs again. How do you win over skeptical Democratic voters like we just heard from and convince them that 2020 in Georgia wasn't a fluke and that Democrats deserve their vote?
Well, Anna, that's the work that I'm doing with the 10 Steps campaign. We are fighting to show that Democrats and people who believe in democracy can fight back against an authoritarian regime that is doing everything in its power to create harm and chaos. I'm here right now because we believe that in Georgia and across the country, the false incarceration of families and children show that we have to stand up for and defend our people, that we can have safe borders without denying the humanity of the people that we serve. And so what Democrats have to do in Georgia and across the country is actually fight. We have to show that we will make certain that democracy delivers health care, delivers affordable groceries, delivers solutions to the problems they face. And so what we're going to do in Georgia and across this country, and what I'm committed to doing through the 10 Steps campaign, is making certain that we show Americans that we are in this to win, not just an election, but to win the future for the people of this country.
Let's talk more about those economic matters. President Trump's approval numbers on the issue are tanking. A CBS poll shows he has just 27% approval on inflation, and even Republican support for him is sinking there. The thing is, Democrats aren't scoring much better. In that same survey, only 35% say Democrats have a better approach on the economy, almost neck and neck with Republicans there at 31%. Why isn't the Democratic economic platform winning over more people right now?
I think what we have to look at is not what the macro says about the Democratic Party, but what we're seeing happen in election after election. Even in Georgia, we had some of the closest elections that we've seen in a while, and we are seeing more and more Democrats turn out. We are watching that happen across the country.
She said Democrats may not have the strongest brand, but they have the strongest beliefs. Okay, Measurement says, have people seen the One World Religion and Project 2025 and the new anti-Semitic bill, Noah Hyde laws? If you don't know, look them up and you will vote. Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. But half of these people are not going to look it up because they don't read or research, beloved. Okay, like I told my friend about himself today. I said, have you read Project 2025? Have you read Project 2030? Have you read it? Of course not. All right. Has he read the Handmaid's Tale agenda? No. But and thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, with that all being said, somebody said they weren't going to vote. I don't remember who it was, but here's the thing. Like I just told you, not voting is why we're in the predicament we're in now, why the Republicans are in control. How do you think the Republicans gained control of the House and the Senate? How do you think that happened? Because many Black people didn't vote and sat on the couch. Now, if you want to stay in this predicament as it continuously progresses to worse, okay, to a worse plight, then go right ahead. But if you want something better for yourself, if you at least want to get some of the things that you're asking for, then you should absolutely vote for the Democrats. Now, that's just my opinion. And like I said, you don't have to take it. I'm not going to be mad one way or the other. But the bottom line is, you see what happened the last time so many people sat on the couch. Okay? And I'm not specifically talking about the presidential election, because I absolutely think that they choose the president themselves through the Electoral College. But at least in the local elections, it's very, very imperative that we all vote in those elections. You need to vote again for the party that's going to do the most for you. Nobody's going to give us everything we want, but vote for the ones that'll give you the most things that you want. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all a few of the things that the Democrats actually do that's undisputable, okay, that they absolutely do. First of all, there's healthcare, like I said, okay? Then there's jobs and wages. Now, they advocate for raising minimum wage, where the Republicans don't want to raise minimum wage. They want you to work like slaves. They also support labor unions and worker protections, okay? Back pay for family leave, sick leave, and workplace safety measures. They often support government spending on infrastructure projects to create jobs, not take them like Trump's administration has been doing. They did support DEI, which Trump took away. Okay, that's what they did. They support healthcare, like I already told you. They support expanding access to healthcare insurance. They push for protections for people with pre-existing conditions. Think about if you already are sick and then you try to get insurance, how hard that can be sometimes. You want people that are going to be for you to get that. Because here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you get reparations. It doesn't matter if you get everything you're asking for if you're not here to be able to access it. Okay? Because they have some nefarious plans. And I'm telling y'all right now, oh, Lord, I can't even say it. I just can't even say it. Let me just stop right there. Anyway, they support raising minimum wage, like I said, with the jobs and wages. And then education, support increased funding for public schools, expand access to preschool and childcare assistance. They support student loan relief programs and making college more affordable. What about social programs? They support those too, like Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, and housing assistance. Keisha Lance Bottoms was just talking about that, and I believe she will do those things because that's what Democrats have always done. That's what they've always done. So why would you stop? Everything that she was talking about, those are the same things the Democrats have always done. And then let's not forget about the civil rights voting. They support voting rights protections and easier ballot access, whereas the Republicans have gutted the Voting Rights Act. They don't want you to be able to vote. They want to make it as hard as possible. They advocate for anti-discrimination laws, including race, gender, disability, and sexual orientation. They support criminal justice reform, such as sentencing reform and police accountability measures, whereas Trump and the Republicans, they don't think that the police should even be sued, no matter what they do. Economy and taxes. They generally support higher taxes on wealthier individuals and large corporations. And this is so they can fund public programs that we need. What is Trump doing? He's trying to fund these wealthy billionaire friends of his. He's trying to get the IRS to never audit him or his family, but meanwhile, they can audit us. This is what Republicans are doing. I'm sorry, make it make sense. Sitting on the couch is going to get you more of what you already have right here and now. We need to get out and vote. Now, they support gun laws, immigration, and environment and energy. And I know some of y'all hate that they support immigration, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I don't mind the immigrants because they haven't taken my job. So, with that being said, let's continue. Now, let's get into Miss Cheyenne Bryant. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, so I'm going to go to this compilation of videos. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And by the way, Dr. Umar was saying that we're jealous of Miss Cheyenne Bryant.
Is very clear. I want to thank everybody for support, but also you have.
Hold on, let me just tell you all who this young lady is. This is the lady who was a victim of Cheyenne Bryant, who thought she was a real doctor, who thought she was a clinical therapist or whatever. Okay, but at the end of the day, she's coming out and speaking. The other day she made a post, but now she's coming out and speaking because people were hating on her, or they were telling her, not hating on her, people were going in on her, and they were telling her that she's a hater and that she was hating on but on Cheyenne Bryant. Okay, and Dr. Umar said that's what all the Black women are doing, but we'll get into him later.
For support, but also you have your naysayers in the background. Me speaking out is not about me trying to tear somebody down. It's not looking for a platform. I want to educate us. And it's so sad that when we speak up and talk about issues that are going on in our community, the people who speak up get attacked. When you suffer from PTSD and you had 2 suicide attempts, you think I wanted to reach out to her looking for platforms? You think I wanted to reach out just for myself? No, I wanted to help, which is what I have now. And suffering from a traumatic brain injury, things look different for me than everybody else. So please don't put your experiences on me. But what I will say, encourage each other and speak up when things go wrong. Don't attack people for speaking up. Encourage people to speak up. You guys be blessed, but this stuff, we have to start taking care of each other and stop hurting each other.
What I find interesting is that people want to go in on this poor woman who's the victim of a fraudster, a scammer. They want to go in and call her a hater. That woman was almost in tears. She was almost in tears because there's people literally defending Cheyenne Bryant, though she's a whole fraud and we all know it by now. And I just find it very interesting. See, this is what I'm talking about when I say that many Black people, because it's Black people that's doing it. This is why I say many Black people just don't have their head in the game. They don't even know whether they're coming or going because they're too stupid to see what's really real at the end of the day. Now, with that all being said, we're going to listen to this lady. I think I played her video the other day. Now, Sierra says it's really because when they were in control of everything, they didn't do anything. It's like they were entitled. It really pissed people off. Well, they did all the stuff that I just read to you, beloved. Everything that I just read to you on that list, did you do any research? For those of you who think the Democrats don't do anything, did y'all do any research? I'm sure you didn't. So all the stuff that I just read to you, plus other stuff, that was just a little bit that I read to you. Those are all things that they do. So do you want to pay high taxes while the rich people get no taxes? Because that's what the Democrats are against. And they've always been against that. Do you want to not have health care when you need it, or your elderly grandparents or whoever, your mother, your father, when they may need Medicaid or Medicare, you want them to be able to have it, right? Or do you want that to be taken away, which is what the Republicans are trying to do? Do you want to be able to go out and freely vote without being suppressed? Because that's what the Republicans are trying to do. How many times do I have to keep saying it? No matter what you say, no matter what your argument is or how compelling you think it is, the fact of the matter, not the opinion of the matter, because I can give my opinions, but the fact of the matter is all that stuff I just read to y'all is absolutely what the Democrats do. They do promote affordable housing. They do promote SNAP benefits. They promote all these things that we actually need. Now, they didn't do anything about reparations and the anti-hate crime bill. That's 2 things that we really want and we really need that we don't have. But maybe we'll get to that, the anti-hate crime bill, the anti-Black hate crime bill. But at the end of the day, the Republicans aren't going to give you anything, okay, but a race war. That's what they're going to give you. They're going to give you a race war, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, hold on. So, and here's the thing too. Wasn't it the Democrats who gave us the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act back in March of 2022? Wasn't that the Democrats? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Okay, I'm pretty sure it was.
Cheyenne Bryant is committing wire fraud, in my opinion. Drop the doctor or provide proof, because what you're doing is wire fraud. In each instance,
I'm going to skip past this because I already showed you all this the other day. I didn't even mean to put this in here.
In March of 2015, Cheyenne Bryant wrote her first book, Mental Detox. In May of 2015, she updated her social media to say Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. In March of 2019, Argosy University closed. She would have already had her PhD for 4 years. In December of 2024, she received her first honorary doctorate degree. In spring of 2025, she received her second honorary doctorate degree. In May of 2026, she wrote her second book. Something's just not adding up.
There's no Dr. Cheyenne Bryant blasting over here on my watch. I ain't gonna even put this sister down because that ain't even in my nature. But I'm watching this B2K Gots to Be video, and this gots to be a young Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Now, she's about 43 right now, but at the time, B2K was about 17, 18, so that puts him around the same age. But this gots to be Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. This person look just like her. Somebody let me know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not admitting to say I'm wrong, but this has got to be Dr. Cheyenne Bryant right here in this B2K Gots to Be video. Dr. Cheyenne.
That is her. Lil Fizz said that on Cam Newton.
Bryant, if you see this, confirm with me, sister. I ain't gonna bash you. I don't do no bashing of black women over here. But if this you, let me know this you, because it's bothering me.
Taking a bath together. No sex. Because you both have what the Bible says marriage requires, discipline. To take a bath together.
Hey.
And have a conversation. A little triggered over there? A little triggered?
No, I just gotta couch this. I gotta couch this. Don't take that bath until y'all get that ring on there.
Until you get that discipline, too.
Discipline. Yeah, don't do it.
Discipline.
You're gonna make me lose my license. Listen, she's talking to married people. It's different at a heightened level. Thank you.
And let me say this.
Yes.
I'm also talking to unmarried people. Because
don't get in that bathtub.
If you
don't
have,
y'all get in that bathtub.
Listen, if you have the true essence of discipline.
Yeah, no, they ain't got it.
But there are some men that do.
Yeah.
But let me go further. Because
they must teach Tai Chi.
Because you're supposed to save your chai tea,
yes,
which is really your sperm,
yes,
until you're doing something that's productive,
yes,
fruitful, and will multiply.
Get in the tub with a bathing suit on. Don't just get in there.
Let me say this, ladies and fellas. Let me say these, ladies and fellas. A man who could bathe with you and be disciplined enough to not touch you is a reassurance for you.
I was supposed to be in Aldi an hour ago, but my handsome black ass been sitting in this parking lot in my car, reading and watching. This lady is trending, y'all. Cheyenne Bryant. How dare I call this lady a doctor? Well, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Well, the lady say she a doctor over and over and over again. Okay? She graduated in 2025. Where there you go right there from? Harvard Christian University. Okay, now. All right, Cheyenne, now. All right. According to the internet, Harvard Christian University is not accredited by any institution. The institution operates under educational sovereignty, including, I can't even say it, holding royal accreditation through the Kingdom of Hawaii Royal Accreditation Commission. This Afro-Latina is cracking me up, y'all. This lady is loving the attention. She is loving this fucking attention. And this picture, it took me to the heavens. Let me take my ass in the store.
So Brooke was on the show that season, and, you know, prior to Cheyenne coming on, you know, Brooke was like, I know her. Like, I know her. This is not just, you know, apparently they had mutual friends. They've gone on vacation together in Vegas. She told me a wild story. Was this on the show or was this personal? No, this was prior to Cheyenne coming on the show. Oh, okay. They were like they were running in similar circles or had friends that knew each other, like they knew each other. So she said, you know, prior to her coming on the show, her and I were talking, because, you know, if somebody new is coming on the show, you're kind of doing the, okay, what is this person about, right? Like, what do we know about her, him, whatever. So she starts telling me this story, and she was like, I know her. She was like, she's a fucking fraud. And she said that, and I was like, well, what do you mean? She was like, she's not a doctor, Evelyn. I was busting out laughing, right? I'm like, Brooke, I was like, well, she's coming on the show. So anyway, she gets on the show, and I mean, there were several things that kind of like, it wasn't giving doctor, right? Like just actions, energy, stuff like that. You know, my first thought was, if you are this professional, why would you come on this show? You know what I mean? Like, why would you come on Basketball Wives out of all shows? You know what I mean? Like, you're risking your brand. I can't necessarily say, I don't know if this is going to help elevate you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not if you're a doctor. Right. Yeah. If you're a doctor, you're like, okay, maybe I should go on, you know, Housewives of Beverly Hills, maybe, or something that's just a different vibe. It gets a little ratchet.
All right. With that all being said, she looked cute in her little outfit while she was twerking. And she looked very nice in her outfit. Now, the bottom line is Cheyenne Bryant could easily have just been a life coach and not even said anything about credentials, because you can be a life coach based off of your experience. Okay? So she didn't, Lillian said, I could never. Okay? At the end of the day, she could have just gone by her experiences. But for whatever reason, she felt the need to embellish or just flat out lie. Now, with that all being said, hold on. Let's go to this clip. Because on this clip, she's talking about her 6 degrees that I told you all about the other day.
That even if I had no.
Hold on. I forgot my overlay.
None of these 6 degrees that I have, none. 4 that are academic and 2 that are honorary doctor degrees. I would still think and be shaped the way that I am. I would still change lives the way that I do. I would still feel the same way about broken homes and broken families. I would still stand on the mountaintop and advocate for the Black community. I would still be president of the biggest civil rights organization, NAACP, for Los Angeles, San Pedro, Wilmington, and Palos Verdes for 12 years. I will still have my own street, the NAACP Square, President Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, Founder Joe Gatlin, in my city, Los Angeles, as a result of the work I've done in the community and the lives I have changed. They didn't give me that because I had a title. They didn't give me that because I have all this educational accolades. They gave me that because I'm impactful, I'm influential, I'm changing lives, and I'm able to lead without force. This is why I don't have the need to be liked, because leadership isn't, I'm manipulating you to like me so I can lead you. That's manipulation. That's narcissism. Leadership is, I'm going to show you my results. And if you feel like my results are something that's conducive to where you want to be, you are more than welcome to join. That even if I had none of these 6 degrees that I have, none, 4 that are academic and 2 that are honorary doctor degrees, I was.
Now I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention to what she just said. She said, even if I never had any of the 6 degrees that I have, right? She said 4 of them academic, which means that she went to college. And then she said 2 honorary doctorates. Now she's saying that her doctorates are honorary. Did y'all catch that? Now she's admitting that her doctorates are honorary. Are y'all catching that? Okay? Are y'all catching that? Dr. T in the building. Okay, did y'all catch that? Now, since all of this stuff's coming out and she knows that she's about to get sued by some people, in my opinion, she also knows that she could absolutely go to jail. So now she's admitting that she has honorary doctorate degrees. Okay? Please pay attention. Please pay attention. Yeah, that's what she's trying to do, in my opinion, trying to not get sued. But guess what? The damage is already done. She can still get sued. She should have thought about that in the first place. But let's go to this clip when she was on Club Shay Shay, when this is how you also should have been able to tell she wasn't a real doctor, because of what she said on here about Offset specifically.
Offset was in my DM, and he just posed a question that said, hey, you know, maybe you can help me with something. He didn't say what it was.
Right.
That's all he said.
Right.
Offset came in my DMs.
To ask for a therapy session. Okay,
And
that's what I was
why
gonna
I
say.
want to give him his
Hold on,
props. And
give
this
it
is
up
what
for
I think-
Offset,
yes,
looking for help.
yes. I'm gonna get, see, well, you see how I slid that out there?
Thank
I
you.
knew I was gonna get you. But he slid in my DMs and asked for a session. Offset was in my DM. And
Now, let me tell you what's wrong with that. Let me tell you what's wrong with that. Does anyone know what's wrong with that? Anyone know what's wrong with that? If she's a professional, why would she put that man's business out there and tell people that he was in her DMs asking for help? Who does that? That's totally unprofessional. And there is something called doctor-patient confidentiality, just like they have for attorneys. Now, she wasn't his doctor at the time. She's not a doctor, period. But I'm just saying, she may not have been his doctor at the time. But if he asked her for help, reached out to her privately, and he didn't make an announcement so that we would all know, then she should have made an announcement so that we all know. See, what she was doing right there was clout chasing. That's how you know she's not really who she says she is. Because who else would have done that if you have a whole PhD? You got a doctorate degree, a practicing psychologist, and this is what you do? Putting your patients or potential patients' business out there, letting everybody know that they came to you for help. Was that our business? No, it wasn't. It was not our business at all. And some lady did a video saying that she's going to get sued for malpractice. I told that woman she's not going to get sued for malpractice. You can only get sued for malpractice if you actually are a doctor. If you're actually a doctor, that's when they can sue you for malpractice. If you're somebody out here who's grifted, you can't get sued for malpractice. You can get sued for fraudulent activities, for lying and those things, but you can't get hit with a malpractice lawsuit unless you're actually a doctor. And see, that's another thing I want you all to pay attention to, because days ago, she literally said that, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, I'm multitasking. But it was something she said the other day. I'll get to it in a minute, but let's hear what Isaiah Carey has to say about her.
Grifters, one of the things you said, you know, you can be a relationship expert, don't always have to have the PhD, but the problem with this is what?
The problem with this is her credibility, the conferment of her degree. She's unable to prove them. And also she just really contradicts herself often. Now, is it plausible that some of the stuff that she is saying is true? It is plausible that it is difficult for you to get your records when a school closes, because it has closed. But it's often easy to just go ahead and Google to see if this is actually true, and it's not. She said that they sold the records to a third party. The third party is Parchment.com, and Parchment.com, you could get the records back from over a decade. And they even list the university that she's claiming that she can't get her records from on there as records you can get. When you do a dissertation, your dissertation is published and it becomes in part of a national portfolio that you can easily look that up. This is not a thing that you have to go find someone to get your dissertation. So the thing is, sure, some of the stuff could be plausible, and that's what I'm going to say, it's plausible, because I'm not the one who's doing the investigation. But the problem is, if we wanted to show our degree, we can easily show our degree.
Now, for those who are concerned about the mental health and the advice, Talk about that, doctors.
I think, again, to distinguish the difference between.
Let me pause it right there. See, this is why I told you all that it's dangerous if you're trying to act like you're a doctor and you're not specifically dealing with people who have mental health issues. That woman that came out and spoke against her, the victim, she said that she wanted to take herself out. She said she wanted to take herself out, like twice, I do believe. Okay, but here's what I was going to say when I lost my train of thought, because I was trying to send something to my email at the same time. So what I was saying was she can't get sued for malpractice because she's not an actual doctor. But that is why when she was on an interview that day, I think she might have been on the Breakfast Club, but she said something about she is not licensed because she said something about she's not licensed or she didn't need a license. And that the only reason you need a license is so you can get insurance. And I told you all then that was a lie. But here's the real reason she can't get insurance. It's because she's not a damn doctor. You see how she flipped that? You see how she flipped that? Oh, I don't need to get a insurance, okay, because I don't have a license. And the license is just for you to have insurance. No, ma'am. You're supposed to absolutely have insurance, okay? If you don't have a doctorate degree, then you can't get insurance to prevent you being sued for malpractice. That's what you can't do, but let's continue.
Calling yourself a coach versus saying I used to have a license. Those are different implications. And so one of the conversations that we've been having is we are bound by code of ethics. We are bound by different standards. And even some of the things, she's been part of our conversations for some time in terms of some of the advice that she has provided or some of the things that she has shared definitely crosses and blurs that line from an ethical space that can do a lot of harm, because what we also have to recognize is the people who she's talking to are people who typically do not seek out help.
And so the other piece I wanted to bring up, if you don't have the transcript, okay, plausible, right? Do you have a picture of your graduation day? Do you have something? Nobody walks across the stage and doesn't take a picture of those 3 stripes on your cape. You know what I mean? And so it's just like the deception.
And what do you?
That's absolutely true, because when I graduated, I absolutely posted my stuff online. I absolutely posted the graduation pictures online. And I've shown you all some of my graduation pictures when I got different degrees. But at the end of the day, yes, you would have something to substantiate your claims. There is a picture that she has where she's doing a video and she has all this on this wall behind her. She has a bunch of certificates, and she actually has the certificates put in frames. Now, when I saw that, that was very interesting to me, because you have certificates put in frames, but not your actual degrees. Remember the other day I told you all that the first thing people see when they walk into my house, I have my certificates where I was on the dean's list, the president's list, and other things where I won different contests or whatever when I was in school for criminal justice and things like that. But I also have my degrees up as well. Why would I just put up the certificates and not the degrees? The degrees are much more important. The certificates are just basically, just a pat on the back. But the degrees show your hard work and your due diligence. Okay? So yeah, she's not making any sense. She's just lying.
Due to those clients or individuals out there who may feel betrayed, is there any legal recourse at all?
I'm sure there's legal recourse. They just don't have a board to back them up, right? And that does suck, right? I don't know. I don't have a better word for it. But I'm sure if she has done some harm, people can sue her. There is a way possibly to sue her for doing damage, and she misrepresents herself. She literally has gone on shows and says, oh, I blend coaching and therapy together. No, you can't do that because therapy requires a licensing. There's so many times people come to me and say, oh, you're a psychologist. No, I'm not a psychologist. I am a trained counselor. I am a therapist. And people are always confusing that as well.
One thing that she mentioned, I think, on the Joe Budden podcast, again, is that she decided to no longer work under her licensure because of, billing and that type of thing. That was a red flag for me right there, even before she got to the Breakfast Club, right? Because we have a responsibility to do no harm to our clients, right? We have a responsibility to make sure that they are covered and that they can go to a board if we have, done something unethical people. And so that wasn't in the forefront of her mind. It was just what works best for her.
From a finance- and to that point, right, I accept insurance so that I can create opportunities for more people to have access.
Okay, so the grift is real and it continues. Let's go to this next clip.
And this is why I asked the question. They're saying, if she doesn't want to bring the proof, that's fine, but why use doctor? Because there's a lot that we associate with that, you know, years of training, resourcefulness, and you're giving life advice. And so I wondered, why not just go by coach, essentially? But she's saying, hey, I have my diplomas, my degrees, and I don't have to prove a thing, and I won't.
Okay, so so many questions, so little time, and I have to ask, first of all, a masterful class with regard to the interview, Marissa. It was unlike any other. Her demeanor behind the scenes, meaning when the camera shut off, what happened?
Oh, she was fine. She hugged me, thanked me again for asking the tough questions. She loved how I handled it. She also appreciated that I gave her more than minutes to talk about the book. I didn't come out the gate and ambush her because she did come to promote the book. So I let her discuss it. Then I asked the question that I knew a lot of people were asking. I asked 2 questions about it. We took a picture together, exchanged numbers. She stayed for an additional 20 minutes. So I think she appreciated the journalism behind it.
During the interview, mainly at the end of the interview, I noticed she raised her hand with regard to affirmation, to which you, Marissa, you did not, you did just that.
Yeah.
What was her reason? We saw what happened, but the vibe, what did you feel as that happened?
Honestly, I didn't feel a thing. I wasn't thinking about it. It wasn't until I saw online people turning that into a meme, but I was just trying to maintain being fair and objective. And I felt like to high five anybody, especially on a subject that touchy, would almost be like me co-signing. And that's where, and you're standing by that.
Standing by it. Yeah, because I earned it. Absolutely. Obedience is to God, not to people. And so as long as I'm in his will and I'm serving and I'm doing his, his word, my sheep will know my voice. Even the sheep in wolf clothing. That is not my battle.
Well,
That's
the
his.
questions that are out there, why not provide the proof of your degree?
All right. So it looks like she's the talk of the town. Everybody is discussing her. And so that's interesting because I guess Dr. Umar thinks that everybody is hating. That's clearly what he seems to think. Okay, please pay attention. And here's the thing. With them talking about they think that they could possibly sue and that there's no board they can go to, because she doesn't have a license, well, they can still sue. Okay, they can sue. You can absolutely sue someone for pretending to be a therapist or a psychologist and charging you because that constitutes fraud. It constitutes misrepresentation. Okay? And potentially the illegal practicing of a mental health profession without a license. Because let's not forget, that lady who I just showed you all the video of said that she was depressed. She had PTSD. That's what she said in that post I read to you all the other day. And she also had thought about taking herself out. Someone like Cheyenne Bryant does not need to be talking to someone like her. She needs a real licensed therapist to get the help that she needs. And I already told you all days ago how dangerous that is if you're not really who you say you are. Okay? Just playing games with people's lives. Like, that's some serious stuff to me. I don't think it's a joke. But as I said, Dr. Umar seems to think that we're all just mad and jealous. Let's get into it. Now, first off, I'm going to go to this TikTok that this lady did where she was basically agreeing with Dr. Umar. She was basically repeating what he said.
So Dr. Umar said that y'all women is jealous of Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and that's why y'all coming down on her so hard. He said that y'all jealous because she's pretty, and y'all coming down on her hard because she's for the Black community. This is what I'm gonna say. This is what I'm gonna say. I get on TikTok every day and I see people promoting their life coach, relationship expert, and y'all are literally paying these people who have no degrees. They have not been to nobody's school. They probably ain't sat on nobody's couch. They're purely going based off of their life experience.
See, that's the thing, though. She said people are paying top dollar to get their relationship advice from people with life experience. Well, here's the thing, though. Those people don't call themselves psychologists. They don't call themselves therapists. They call themselves what they are, life coaches. Life coaches, just to give you information and advice on how to live life and how to maneuver through different things that that may happen to you in life. But what they don't do is pretend to have degrees. She said they don't have any degrees, but would you rather deal with someone who lets you know they don't have degrees or someone who's going to lie and pretend that they have them? Like, she sounds just as ridiculous and obtuse as Dr. Umar, in my opinion. But let's continue.
Cheyenne Bryant, I don't have a need to investigate her because she hasn't hurt anybody. She is a life coach, Art, and you don't have to be certified or have a doctorate or a license to be a life coach.
Dr.
And he's absolutely right. But, sir, she said she was a psychologist and she said she was a therapist and a life coach, which she started saying the life coach stuff more recently. But she's been saying that she's a doctor, a therapist, a psychologist. So what's he talking about? She hasn't hurt anybody. She obviously hurt that lady who did the video. Remember how I told y'all the other day when I read the post that lady had made, she said that she was going through things at that time and she didn't feel like hearing how she wasn't a high valued woman. Okay. And then her having potential clients reach out to her for help and her being so much of a clout chaser, because that's really what she is. But her being so much of a clout chaser that she's exposing their business, letting people know that they need help for one and that they requested it from her for two. That absolutely can be hurtful. I don't know what Dr. Umar's talking about, but I'm going to tell you what I think. I think Dr. Umar is hoping that she sees that video and he's trying to shoot his shot. That's what I think Dr. Umar is on. Or maybe Dr. Umar is saying this and defending her because he knows that just a few years ago, they came at him for his license and to see if he really had a degree. Okay? So that's maybe why he's doing it. Who knows? But nonetheless, he needs to sit down somewhere because scammers need to be called out. And I don't care if they're black or not. They're the main ones who need to be called out because they're the main ones who scam and defraud our community.
Umar defends Cheyenne Bryant amid criticism over her credentials, arguing that much of the backlash comes from jealousy and resentment toward her success.
She ain't misdiagnosed nobody. She ain't done no clinical work without a license. I haven't seen any wrongdoing from Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. So
now he's really caping hard. How does he know? Okay, how does he know that she hasn't done anyone any harm? How does he know any of the stuff he's saying? He doesn't.
What do I think is going on here, Art? I believe that black women are attacking her out of jealousy. They are jealous of her looks. They are jealous of her life coaching career. They are jealous of her podcast success. They wish they were in her position. And because they are not, they are trying to destroy that woman. Cheyenne Bryant,
Now, if that's the logic that he wants to go by, and if that's the hill he wants to die on, the question that I would pose to Dr. Umar is, when they were coming for you, Dr. Umar, were they jealous of your looks? Were they jealous of your body? Were they jealous of your podcast? Were they jealous of your success? I'm sorry, because Dr. Umar is a grifter too. Remember, let's not forget how last year I showed you all the information on him where that woman claims that he victimized her, basically. with a whole bunch of lies. The lady that was trying to do the documentary on him, and then the other lady that came out as well, that said she had messed around with him and he was trying to use her to take care of his sick mother and all of that stuff. Okay, so Dr. Umar just needs to stay out of this conversation and sit down somewhere, because you don't want people to get back on you. Okay. And he said people are hating. And that's the thing. Like I said, Black people need to stop doing that, because I don't see white people or other races doing that. I only see Black people doing that. Always want to call somebody a hater when they disagree with your opinion, or when they call out somebody that you just happen to like. Okay. So with that all being said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, Dr. Cheyenne is a very attractive woman. She absolutely is. And it is because she is so attractive that she has gotten to where she is. That's the main reason why her grift has worked as long as it has.
I've seen Cheyenne Bryant somewhere before. As an old head, it does not surprise me that this woman was a video vixen. She appeared in Busta Rhymes' video. She appeared in B2K. She also appeared in some old episodes of Real Housewives and Basketball Wives. I think she was in a Jay-Z video. The video vixen is the woman who used to do like those like very mediocre dances and videos. Like they barely knew how to dance, or they were just like the one who was like really pretty, just looking around, being like the, love interest in the video. And that also kind of makes me feel like Joe Budden kind of knew who she was, and that's why he kind of peeped her. Like he didn't know her like that, but it's probably like, oh, I think I've seen her on set somewhere before. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day. But people are wanting a refund on her newly published book. And it's being alleged that the publisher of her book is refunding people who purchased the book. Given that she just wanted to add the doctor to her name to separate herself from any other life coach, but really all life coaches are the same. And life coaches are essentially scammers. That's what they are. They're like narcissistic scammers. It's almost like somebody who can tell your fortune. They use certain things that you've told them, you know what I'm saying, to try to gauge and guide, where they're going to go with the conversation. So you can say, oh my God, you're so right. Yeah,
Okay, I'm sure there are some life coaches that do that, but there are some absolutely legitimate life coaches who do a good job. There just are. Okay, there are some who absolutely do a good job, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, moving right along, let's talk about Chud the Builder. Because Chud the Builder, his audio got leaked. Before we get to that, let's go to what this attorney had to say about Chud the Builder's case. Now, to me, what he said in this interview, it really is given that he wants him to get off. That's what it's given for me, that he wants Chud to get off.
Personality known as Chud the Builder finds himself in hot water, testing the limits of our rights. In this week's Ask Isaacs, Lori Tucker takes questions about the case to legal analyst Greg Isaacs.
Greg, thank you for joining us.
Lori, it's good to be here.
We are in the newsroom. It looks a little different right now. This is normally where we do our live stream every Wednesday at 1:30, and we decided to keep it in here for this segment because it's pretty appropriate when we're talking about a guy who is known as quite the provocateur on his live streams on X, and that is Chud the Builder. He is known as a rage baiter. Let's talk more about what he has done in the past and the trouble that he is in right now when it comes to attempted murder charges.
Chud the Builder has a significant following on X, and he's a rage baiter. What he does is he'll approach pedestrians, use very salacious language, typically with a racial overtone, and then try to get a reaction. Chud the Builder, aka Dalton Etherly, took that little act outside the Montgomery County Courthouse in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Just a few weeks ago.
And he encountered an African-American individual that was a military veteran. They were engaging in some words. The warrants say that Etherly took a bladed stance, kind of like this, removed a firearm from his jacket pocket and began to fire, injuring the other individual and also shooting himself in the arm. And he's charged with some serious criminal offenses, Lori.
Let's go down that list. First, as I mentioned earlier, is attempted murder. Also, we have aggravated assault, employment of a firearm during a dangerous felony, reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. And his bond is set at $1.25 million. Why such a high bond?
Well, because, one of the main factors in a bond is to reasonably assure someone's appearance, but also to ensure the safety of the community. And one thing that the judge focused in on was that all the people in that courtyard area,
there were several bystanders.
Bystanders were placed in danger by this reckless conduct, but serious charges: attempted homicide, 15 to 25 years; aggravated assault, 3 to 6 years; reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, 1 to 2 years; employment of a firearm, another offense that is going to be stacked on top. But here's what's going to be interesting as this case plays out in the Montgomery County Courthouse. So if you are the prosecution, you are going to try to establish Etherly's intent, his mens rea, and you want to open up his live stream. Prior bad acts, 404B evidence, we talk about it all the time.
And the defense is going to try to
And they're going
quash
to say,
that.
not so fast. We're going to rely on self-defense because we were defending ourselves during the middle of this altercation on the courthouse steps. But it'll be interesting because they'll want that salacious content in to prove Etherly's mens rea and state of mind. A constitutional battle, First Amendment versus the right to a fair trial.
All right. He's in court tomorrow. We'll be watching.
And if
Okay. So I find it all interesting. OG Patrice said he committed a felony crime. He shouldn't be able to use the GoFundMe to pay for his defense. He won't be. They're going to keep that money. I said that the other day. He's not going to be able to use it. He is not going to be able to use it, beloved. Now, Ashkan says, my prediction, he gets 18 months and a couple of years probation. Okay. That's a good thought, beloved. That's a good thought. I'm not sure what he's going to get, but he's definitely going to jail where he belongs. Okay? Now, with that all being said, let's go to this next video, and then we're going to listen to the audio of him in jail. So desperate and sad.
At 9 a.m., Chud the Builder, aka Dalton Etherly, is back in court for a major bond hearing. And honestly, this case keeps getting stranger. Prosecutors are already trying to question the source of the bond money. They already put a gag order on for the entire case, as well as putting out subpoenas for the rescheduled court date on May 26th. I will be following up after the hearing tomorrow morning because I do believe that it's probably going to change some things drastically. Tomorrow.
Also, let me just tell you all this. Did you all know that this Black woman tried to get a restraining order on him? Okay, this was reported May the 16th. She tried to get a restraining order on him and the judge denied it. A woman was shut down in her effort to obtain a restraining order against streamer Chud the Builder. Now, TMZ broke the story. According to court docs obtained by TMZ, a woman named Yasmin Shantae West filed a petition for a protective order against Chud in November of 2025. Now, Yasmin claimed that Chud, whose legal name is Dalton Etherly, had committed racial violent behavior. She says he used me on social media, and that has created a harassing following. She said that Chud came to her job in Clarksville, Texas on November the 19th of 2025. She says he recorded our interaction and took it put it on his Twitter, exposing my work location and lying about me assaulting him and refusing help, which created a major following of harassment towards me and my job. So his minions, the racist devils that think and act like him, started harassing her. She took down her TikTok, I do believe, for a minute. Now, she said after Chud left, the harassment escalated to social media daily. Since then, Yasmin asked the court to keep him away from her and to order him to take down all social media posts about her and to stop talking about her now and in the future. But on December the 2nd, the court dismissed the case after finding out that Yasmin was basically not a domestic violence abuse victim, and nor was she a stalking victim or an sexual assault victim, and had not presented sufficient evidence to even back up her claims. Okay, well, she may not have had evidence, but she was assaulted. Okay. And my thing is, him coming up to her job, that's harassment. So what is the judge talking about? Why does she have to be a domestic violence victim or any of that? Okay. Why does she have to be any of that? And I'm sorry, I said she was absolutely a assault victim. No, what I meant was she was harassed. Okay, she was harassed. And so at the end of the day, you can't do anything about that. She can't even get a temporary order of protection. I mean, he should not be able to freely go up to her job and just harass her and then post her location or the location of her job and all that stuff online for his racist minions to start attacking this woman. Now, as TMZ previously reported, authorities arrested Chud after the shooting outside of the Clarksville courthouse, which we already know about. Okay, so with that being said, Chud the Builder's lawyer came out and spoke because he was saying that people were calling him racist for simply representing Chud. And here's what he had to say. They say Chud the Builder's lawyer fires back at racist claims. I will not back down. I actually thought Chud had said that when I read it the other day, because the way it was, the context they used it, sounded like that's what he was saying. Okay, so now with that all being said, the lawyer is basically saying that he's just trying to do his job and make his money. Okay, that's all he's trying to do. He's just trying to do his job and make his money. Chud the Builder's attorney is pushing back hard against accusations that he's racist just for representing the controversial streamer in court. Now, attorney Jake Finley released a lengthy statement after backlash over defending Chud the Builder, whose legal name is Dalton Etherly, insisting that representing someone accused of racist behavior does not make the person racist themselves. I absolutely agree. I mean, I wouldn't represent him at all, but I could see if he wants to, go right ahead. But that doesn't make him a racist. Okay, now Finley said he's represented clients in all walks of life and called it awful that people are labeling him racist over doing his job as a criminal defense attorney. Yeah, that is crazy. Now, because people have to have counsel. Okay, people have to have counsel. You have to have due process. And trust me, he's going to need a lawyer, but he may not be able to afford one. He may not even be able to keep up the payments for his lawyer because he's not getting a dime of that money. And he still thinks that he is. And how do we know that he thinks he's getting that money? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because of the leaked audio. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
You can get me out, help with the funds, not access my funds until I get out of here, because no one has access to any of my gifts and go or my crypto wallets, etc. I have to get out of here so that I can get verification processes to get into all of these funds. I will fight for free. If you can help me out to post bail, I will fight for free. I will do whatever it is you want to do, bro. I need somebody with big money who can throw down, who can support me.
Did y'all hear what he said? That joker said he needs somebody with big money. Okay? He said he needs somebody with big money. Well, that's why you're still sitting there. All right? That's exactly why you're still sitting there. And here's the thing. You all do know that they have such a thing as fighting words. Chud the Builder was actually walking up to people spewing fighting words and trying to provoke people to anger and all of that so they could basically give him a reason. Now, like I told you all the other day, the reason he pulled out his gat before the person put hands on him, I think it was because he was so nervous. You know, I think he's such a coward that he was scared because the man stood up to him. And that's why he pulled it out. But see, had it just been a few seconds later, had the man punched him before he pulled out the gun, he could have absolutely gone with self-defense, but that's not going to fly. Okay, that's just not going to work in this case. And I'm glad it's not going to work because he needs consequences and repercussions. Now, I want you all to look at this video. I'm about to conclude the broadcast in a second, but I want you all to look at this video of this man yelling at this black woman, and she's sitting there telling somebody else to call for help, but she has a phone in her hand. She has a cell phone in her hand. So I don't know what that was all about, but she looked real crazy, and he did too.
Get the fuck out of here! Go! Get your car! Get your car! Get the fuck out of here! Go!
Now, here's the question. She's holding a cell phone and telling other people to call for help. Why didn't she just do it herself? And he's walking all up on her, all up in her face. What is his problem? Is he racist? Did she do something to tick him off? I don't know. That's the full clip. Okay, that's the full clip. So I don't know. But at the end of the day, honey, I wouldn't even have entertained him. I would have just simply called 911. That's what I would have done. Okay, let's go to the next clip. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on, beloveds. I'm trying to pull up my next clip. I hate when I'm unorganized and don't have my ish together. Now, y'all listen to this. And I really want to know what you all think about it because I find this to be absolutely egregious. But you know what? This man is not lying. This man is not lying. This is literally what they're up to.
A woman finds out she's pregnant. She's so excited. She goes and tells her doctor, and the doctor says, "That's amazing. In 2 to 3 days, you'll receive an ankle bracelet from the state so that we can monitor your location at all times." One of Trump's policy advisors was just on television talking about how they were okay with states deciding if they want to track and monitor pregnant women. They want states to have a right to your body that you don't even have. It's not enough to give the state the right to ban abortion, even for victims. No, they have to put in controls so that they can make sure you don't visit a state that does give you that right. Do you imagine you live in a red state, you go to a blue state to visit family, and when you get back home, government agencies waiting at your house, the police are waiting at your house to check the baby's heartbeat to make sure you didn't do anything. They're on TV saying that this is going to be okay. Last time Trump was president, Roe versus Wade was still a law. Do you want to see what Donald Trump does to women when Roe versus Wade is not in the picture anymore? Now that there's no Supreme Court ruling protecting women, now that the same Supreme Court told Donald Trump he's immune for all official acts as a president, imagine a woman finds out.
Trump really does not care about America, the citizens, or any of that. All that America First stuff is just a whole load of BS. He's sitting here trying to give the January 6th rioters all this money There's no telling how much money he's given to his minions, okay, the people in his administration. There's just no telling. At the end of the day, this man is so corrupt, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Please like and share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Each one, hold on, what is this? Oh, we'll get into that later. Okay, but so until then, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. I'll see you all later on, probably around 7. Okay, so just make sure if you don't get a notification, you check the channel. All right, so love you all to life. And I will be talking to you all again soon. Peace.
Hit him with that flavor. All in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got